Get the hulls. There we go.
Welcome, my friends, to the sweet spot where IT leaders share the insight with other leaders and others that want to lead. My name is Carlos Vargas, and it's every week I have my two co-hosts, Howard Holton and Paul Lewis. Hello, guys.
Hey, Carlos.
Hey there.
New year. What's new?
New year, same as the old year. Right? One time, I just kind of want January 1st to roll around and for it to actually feel like a new year.
Right. Some new spectacular event just occurred.
Yes, like the eradication of a global plague would be nice, right? It should be obvious I'm traveling again. Yay me. And now I'm concerned I may not be able to get home. I don't know if you guys are following what's happening with Omicron, but airports are shutting down, not because they can't get flights in and out, but because they can't get enough TSA workers that don't have COVID to keep security open.
Yikes.
What?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's the new airport delay is now getting through security because they don't have enough healthy TSA workers.
Healthy
Right?
TSA workers.
Well, think about it. The mask is only good for a few hours. It has to be sealed to your face, so no one's really getting a good use of their mask. I never have, not one time. Never.
Right.
I don't know why. No one's been able to point out to me why I can't get a good seal on a mask. And each TSA person at a security checkpoint is going to see 10,000-ish people, and we can take all the reasonable precautions in the world, but the R value of the R value of the flu, I think, is 1.2. The R value of Omicron is like 9,000.
Right.
Right. If you've been with it, if you cross paths where someone else walked within 2 weeks, you can get Omicron. Like it's got the most horrific infection rate. So
Weren't you in an airport? And I know this feels like an aside, but weren't you in an airport at some point that had a different implementation of security? Like, I think it might have been Tel Aviv, Israel, where you could walk through the entire airport and they used a different mechanism to determine whether you are a risk or not.
So the Asian airports use facial scanners to do temperature, and they've done this long before COVID. And very different implementation. Their security is very different implementation of security, and almost completely hands off.
I can tell you're not referring to India because it's mostly hands-on in India.
Well, everything is hands-on in India. Like, let's be clear, right? India goes, automation is adorable, but I automate through the use of 1.7 billion humans. Right? They don't even use backhoes in India because why? I need to employ like 1 billion people. Just give each of them a shovel.
That's right. Yes.
It's super effective. I really have to hand it to them because they don't have to shut down a lane of traffic while they lay cable near the side of the road.
No,
because the person's only 2 feet wide and a shovel is only 6 inches wide, so they just line them all up, go to town.
Exactly. Yep. Single line, single file.
I don't know that it's any slower, and it certainly doesn't require a whole lot of training to say shovel along this line to this depth. Right? When your handle goes as deep as the blue mark, stop.
Right.
Right. And I'm not even
move a foot, do it again.
Right. And I'm not being insulting. I was once a kid with a shovel, like it really doesn't require a lot of training. It really is an efficient way to look at it when you have to employ everyone. The government's role is to ensure we're all as healthy and successful as we can be. And sometimes public works are a great way to employ people.
So on the original premise, since I'm traveling in the next couple of days, do you think I should re-evaluate whether I should go just in case I get stuck in the destination I happen to be flying into?
No, I just think you should plan extra time.
I see.
Right? Like we got really, really, really good at bare minimum travel. right? I do carry on only. I can show up 22 minutes at this airport. I can show up 22 minutes before my plane takes off and still make my flight, or I can show up, 11 minutes before boarding begins, and I'm good because I knew the airport that well. And there were a bunch of airports where flat out I knew that, right? It's 6 minutes at Tucson, right? It's 12 minutes at Dallas Fort Worth. You know what I mean? Like it's 22 minutes at DIA. COVID has changed that, right? So for DIA, I'm minimum 2 hours I show up.
Wow.
Right? At Atlanta, I'm leaving here on Friday. I will be there 4 hours early.
4 hours
4
early.
hours.
For a domestic flight.
For a domestic flight.
Wow.
Right? It is taking me more than an hour before Omicron, it took me more than an hour last year to get through clear security at DIA. More than an hour.
Wow.
The regular line was 2.5 or 3 hours. It took my wife over an hour, and she was in the handicap line.
Wow.
Right. So with Omicron and kind of the challenges that we're having, it's shutting down whole security lines, which is doubling or tripling the time it could take. And look, I'll just go sit in the lounge for an hour or 2 or 3. Like I don't mind if somebody goes, oh, you're through in 15 minutes. You happen to be there at a time when there was a low number of people and we were fine getting you through. And so it worked just like it should. And you never would have noticed. But I'm not okay showing up going, well, oopsie.
Right.
You get to take a later flight. And since you're being rescheduled on a later flight, we're also going to put you in the bulkhead in the middle underneath all the extra baggage.
Right. And therefore doesn't work out.
Right. So I'll just show up 4 hours early. It's fine. It'll be all right. I'll make it work. Right. My recommendation would be, do that.
We were talking about an interesting detail before we started. That is things that have been affected with all the changes that have happened. Specifically breakfast.
Oh my God. You're getting me restarted. I was going to say, don't get me started, but I was started.
I'm going to set the stage. So when you go to a hotel, you sometimes pick a good hotel based on the amenities that they should offer, because when you're outside of your house, it's not just the same as if you were for vacation. You're at work, so you may have to wake up early, so you want to get a good breakfast or at least get a good cup of coffee. But lately, some of the things that have happened, even when they give you vouchers, are not good. So take it away.
So I have status at Marriott, which means I get lounge access. So I come to the same hotel I come to in Atlanta, and I said, "What?" I said, "Where are you putting me?" They're like, "Oh, you're a top tier status, so we're putting you on the lounge level." Fantastic! I love having access to the lounge. I can go grab a beverage before I go to bed. And they went, "No, you can't." And I went, "Well, isn't that what my status is, lounge access?" And he says, "Yes, but we pulled all of the beverages from the lounge. And we don't do breakfast in the lounge anymore. And we pulled our beverage center from right here by the front desk. So the only place in the whole hotel to get any beverage at all is the bar." Interesting. Okay. What about breakfast? "Oh, well, we have our breakfast buffet, and I will give you a voucher for you and one other guest for every day." Okay. Sometimes when something's free, it doesn't really seem to have much value, and people kind of think of it as not having a lot of value.
Sure.
So I don't think this breakfast buffet is worth the little 8.5 by 11 cutout sheet that they made. I think that's actually more delicious and more filling and a better value for the money. Now, granted, I'm not paying anything for it. But when I go downstairs and I see one 6-foot long table that has runny or dry, depends on the day, scrambled eggs, microwave sausage patties, and I don't remember anything else. I think there's one more tray, but it's not food you'd want to eat anyways, so It doesn't really matter. And untoasted bread. I don't get super excited, even when it's free.
Right.
But then when I see the little sign, the little plaque that says breakfast buffet, $19.95. Yes, now it's insulting. You've given me a coupon for a $20 breakfast that I wouldn't pay $2 for, much less $20. And somehow I'm supposed to be okay with this. Somehow I'm not supposed to be insulted, right? Like you're either insulting my intelligence or just directly insulting me, because there's no value in that, right? And telling me it's a good thing you get a free breakfast, yeah, but it's inedible, does not make it a good free breakfast.
Right.
To make it worse,
It tastes like carton?
No, the eggs taste roughly like the coupon. About the same quality. Then I sit down to have it anyhow. I'm like, you know what? I just don't want to put up with it on the first day. I'll just have the thing. I sit down. Right. What would you like to drink, sir? Coffee or juice? And I said, well, I'd really like a hot tea. Great. Guess what's not included in your $20 buffet?
Tea.
Correct, which is hot water. To be clear, that's just hot water and a 40-cent tea bag.
Right.
Right.
Maybe they're getting those high quality 75-cent bags.
They're not. I get the high quality 75-cent bags at home. I know exactly what those things look like. Right. There's these little delicate pouches that look like they're held in silk, and it's got a little weaved tea bag string. No. This is one step up from Lipton, or one step down, or one step to the side.
If you bring your own tea bag, do you have to pay a quarter corkage fee?
I'm certain it's probably $8.95 when you factor the corkage fee and the hot water in the cup. There's a cup utilization charge. It's just like, and again, like I fully understand I'm not paying for the $20 buffet, so it doesn't really have a $20 cost. At the same time, if it was $6.95 and they give me a coupon, I'd be like, okay, that's a $6.95 buffet. But
Right.
when I can go and have a waffle at a Super 8 for the same $0 cost, that's better, right? When there is a selection at Motel 6 of cold breakfasts that cereals that I can have,
right.
That's an upgrade, right? There's no, sir, don't ask for oatmeal, you don't get oatmeal. Don't ask for bacon, you don't get bacon. We can't microwave bacon at the same rate we can microwave these Jimmy John's sausages.
Right.
Like, it's just horrible. And it's a great way to start your day. It's just fantastic.
Now I'm looking forward to it in a couple of days. Now it's ranking high.
If you will have to pay for an upgrade, let's say that they give you a $20 buffet ticket, but it doesn't include, let's say, the coffee or the juice or something like that, will you be okay if it will be edible? When you had to pay for the
I have a story to tell. So I was in Johannesburg. I don't know how long ago, a couple of years ago, I guess, whenever we were allowed to go to Johannesburg. And I was at a Marriott property, but not a Marriott brand. It was whatever the South African brand is. I think it's Protea, something like that. And it was a little secluded, gated area. It was kind of in the middle of suburbia, but it was gated enough that it had its own little shopping area. It was based on the elite status, I was able to get a full buffet breakfast, but the buffet didn't include anything that was hot. Anything that was hot was on the additional menu, to which you had a premium charge for. Now, the buffet was spectacular, however. Like, we're talking about fresh, warm pastries that they clearly made there. And the croissants were like a foot long. Like, they were massive croissants. And they were just amazingly buttered, right?
Is this story really going to lead to Paul ate a croissant every day before the last day someone told him they were actually sandals designed for the pool?
No. But I did, in fact, just eat the buffet a lot because there was a lot of good, healthy, amazing stuff there. When there was a point in time that I asked, well, show me the menu so I can see what the different stuff was. And it was a great menu. Like, you had pancakes and eggs and French toast, a whole big bunch of things. And I asked them what the premium charge was. And they said, sir, I'm not sure if you want to order this or not. It's $2 premium charge. I said, for anything on this list, absolutely anything you want, but it's not free, sir. It's $2. Okay. From that point forward, I ordered eggs from the menu and I paid a $2 premium.
Is it $2 per egg? I'll take 7.
No, they were like seriously concerned that I wouldn't pay for it, that they had to warn me every morning. Sir, it's $2. Like, I can give you this menu, but are you sure you want to pay this premium?
Yeah. I mean, I will say, like we're laughing about it, but think about that for a second, right? You've said I'm your top tier visitor.
Yeah.
Right. You've said my value to the brand is the highest. And if you were to lose me, it would actually matter in some way. Like if I switch from Marriott to Hilton or Marriott to Hyatt, that would be something you wanted to avoid. Yeah. You're really going to negotiate over a $2 upcharge on breakfast?
That's exactly what I was thinking. It's funny that you're telling me it's only $2. What I was really thinking is, well, why wouldn't you include it?
Right. Why wouldn't you say for titanium elite, you don't have to pay the $2?
Right.
Like that's just for this hotel, that's a titanium elite advantage. You don't have to pay $2. Now, if we want to talk about breakfast buffets, I was just in the Netherlands and they had a fantastic breakfast buffet, right? Like the buffet was, I don't know, probably 40 feet long, 20 feet deep, and 2 rows, right? So we're just talking like linear feet of stuff, maybe 60, 70 feet.
Like the ITCs in India, like that kind of mega.
No, because then we talk about the ITC in India, where it's an entire buffet center.
Correct.
Right? Like you have 700 square feet just of food items to choose from, and it's all of it. And if they don't have what you want, and somebody comes by and says, hey, how is your breakfast? Well, I would have really liked if you had, I don't know, etouffee. They'll probably go find you an etouffee.
Right.
Like if they could conceivably create, because there was something, I don't remember what it was, but one day I was like, I actually really was hoping, like, you have a tremendous amount of options and I'm super happy. Do you have this? And they're like, no, we don't have that, but I'll be right back. And then he just disappeared. And I'm like, wait, no, you didn't have to go do that. That's not. And then they came back with it. They just brought it back. Like, here you go, sir. I'm like, okay, can I have the check? No check.
No check.
No check included. Go have fun. Enjoy.
Yep. Breakfast is included.
I hope it was delicious. And I'm like, wow, okay.
Right? So you're saying your Netherlands breakfast wasn't that opulent?
No. The Netherlands breakfast was an incredibly good hotel breakfast.
Right.
India's breakfast was an incredibly good enticement to live in the hotel.
Right.
That's true.
That is a good point.
That's true.
Like if I was a customer that was brought to India and then put up in a hotel, I would have called all of the people I was going to meet and said, we're now meeting in this room.
Right.
Because I just live here now. I live at the buffet. You just have to meet me at the buffet. I'm just going to eat at the buffet because this is incredible.
Right.
And that happened to us at every one of the buffets we went to.
Yep.
Right. Like we went to the one that could have been the buffet at the Kentucky Derby in the $1,000 rooms, right? Or the Monaco. Like they could have put that in the, the rooms at the Monaco GP. I don't know if you've seen Monaco, where they're all up on the hotels.
Yeah.
And they have an ocean view, but they also view the track, and they're like $2,000 a night. They could have put that there, and it would have been, nobody would have batted an eye. They'd have been like, oh, this is a nice spread.
True.
But I think I'm going to transition a little bit, Carlos, because I think we start
running out of time, but go ahead.
Like a perceived value conversation that I don't think enough companies look at. Right? What even something that's free has to have a perceived value. What is that perceived value? And will our customers actually perceive it the same way we do? If I say I'm going to deliver this thing to you, I'm going to give you a new MacBook, right? I said I just got a new one, right? Is my customer going to look at that and say, "Ooh, that has value," or is my customer going to look at that and go, "It's just a work computer; it doesn't really have any value." Right. If I say I'm going to add this enhancement to your Oracle, I'm going to give you this enhancement to Office 365. Anybody know what that was?
Not on my side.
That was Slack.
See, it's the elevator.
Enhancement to Office 365. Does that actually have value? What is the customer's perceived value, and how do we align the customer's perceived value to the level of effort, to the cost of the business, right? How do we change our language to do that?
And I think that's really important because sometimes we don't realize that what we think that is valuable is not valuable to the customer.
Right.
Like I remember at one point they released, just talking about Office 365, they released a feature that tracked every minute that you were not on a meeting. So if you didn't have something booked on your calendar, it showed that you were not in a meeting. So it showed in the statistics of like, oh, you had 20 minutes of meeting this week,
right?
Of work week.
Whoa.
I'm like,
whoa, wait a minute. Where did you go that you only had 20 minutes of meetings in a week? I want to go there.
That's what I was looking. I'm like, what the heck is this? So based on how it was showing up, depending on your meetings, it will see how you have it. And I'm like, that is not a good idea.
Again,
so
that
sometimes
defines productivity for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's interesting is as we look at those statistics, they sometimes seem like a KPI.
Yes.
Right. And so it's data without value, and data without, like, humans aren't good without value. We ascribe value to nearly everything.
Right.
Apple every day says this is your screen time or every week says your screen time for last week, right? Here's your notification of screen time for last week. Your screen time was up, your screen time was down. What's good screen time?
Right.
You know everything about me, Apple. Everything. Absolutely everything about me. You know my age, my sex, what zip code I live in, likely a good indication of how much I make.
Sure.
What my shopping habits are. And you know that for like 1 billion people. Why don't you tell me how my screen time compares to their screen time? Why don't you give me data that actually, why don't you add some value to it so I don't just ascribe value to it?
Right.
Because a data point that doesn't have obvious value, I'm going to ascribe value, and really has no value.
But that being said, without context, averages aren't helpful either. Like, does it really matter that the average of 1 billion people is 16 minutes a day?
No,
that tells you nothing.
What about middle-age information workers at an executive level? I actually would find that useful. Like
especially if they added some sort of psychologist. You know, the top psychologists say that you shouldn't do any more than 20 minutes. Like not two, right? Add some external opinion on it.
Right. And I'd even love, hey, you spent X time on this site. Your peers go to this site. Try this site.
Right.
You know what I mean? But there's nothing. It's just a statistic that's meaningless that immediately I go, oh, is that bad?
Right.
Did I do that more or less? And then they don't tell me anything other than it's up or down from last week. But what about 6 months?
Right.
What do I care about last week? I don't want a one-to-one comparison.
That's
is this up average for me, or is my average, is this lower than average for me? What has it been since you started sending me this freaking notification?
Right.
So you would like Big Brother to tell you how you're using your device without telling you how you're using your device.
I would like Big Brother to piss off and not be around anymore. But since we're not actually wishing that far out of the box today.
Right.
If Big Brother is going to be there, I would really like Big Brother to have value.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting because for our power company, it actually tells me, here's your power usage for this month. Here's how you compare to your neighbors based on the size of your house and how much you're using. Here's what you could do to lower it.
Yeah, that would be more useful, right? Like yeah. I could also see, based on your power usage, we think you're growing weed. Based on the square footage of your property, we don't think your density is high enough. Here's what some others have done. I mean, I live in Colorado.
Here's some hydroponics tips.
That's the first thing I thought was Carlos got an email that said, you're using 8 times what your neighbors are using. What are you doing?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have too many computers in one room, so 6 is enough.
Yeah.
It would be worse if they said, we think you're performing some illegal operations. We're going to double your rate, but you're not going to say anything about it because
Right.
because I promise not to tell the authorities.
Because we're $1 every month goes into your power company provided legal fund, and therefore this is a privileged conversation.
Right. I'm smelling a business model here.
So every month I get I get a similar email, but every month I get an email about my my natural gas usage. Right. And it shows my 12 months. So last January you used this much. This January, the average temperature is X. Last January it was Y. So you can kind of see, it's warmer this year than it was last year. I'm using fewer therms this year than I did last year, but why is my bill higher?
Right.
You know what they don't tell me? They don't tell me why my bill's higher.
Right.
And yet they sent an email months and months and months and months and months ago that said, just so you know, under Colorado state law, the cost of the natural gas itself is a pass-through by law. So as the cost of gas increases, you'll see that reflected on your bill. Why don't they do that every month? You know what I mean? If you're going to go through the effort of giving me these, just add one note that says the pass-through cost of natural gas over the last 12 months has gone up by this percentage. That's why your therms are more expensive. Right. Instead, I see every month a question where somebody goes, why is my gas so expensive? And then I got to go in and go, well, this is actually why. And why force people to educate themselves when you could actually do that and it be seen as a value? It goes back to, we just talked about it for a minute, but it goes back to that kind of value conversation. Where are we adding value and how are we adding value? And rather than just do technology for technology, rather do features for features' sake, like a free $20 buffet that no one would pay $3 for. Think about what is it that you're doing and what could the real value be and how is your customer going to perceive it? And would your customer prefer it a different way?
That was a brilliant callback. You should be congratulated for that. Masterclass. Carlos?
So I think that that's a great conversation to understand that the features is not what the customer needs. The customer need to be understood, and that when what we think that is valuable, we need to get the correct feedback so they can get the value of whatever we're doing, being that we're leading a team, that we're building a product, or that we're getting a free breakfast coupon so we can enjoy it when we go into a hotel. So my friends, being awesome to see you again, and we'll see you on our next episode.